By the way, speaking of Gabe Kapler, who you heard at that rejoin.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
I think he was talking about coffee or something. Sam knows more about that. What was he talking about there, Sammy?
Yeah, so I guess he was at this coffee place in Queens yesterday, and he posted on his Instagram, and yeah, he was talking about the well in Queens, having that chill vibe, and he was talking about the kind of coffee he likes, and he always likes to drink it black, and yeah, he was just kind of showing off his coffee choices.
That I can get on board with.
Yeah, Evan, you're a big just black coffee guy.
Big black coffee
You're
guy.
dead inside, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much, yeah. Some call me psychopath. It's 100% fine. I've had 4 cups today of black coffee.
Huge.
And it's just pretty much how I live my life.
I got the whole thing if you guys want to hear it.
Yes.
Actually,
yes, let's hear
The
it.
well in Queens has a mellow vibe and the staff is on their game. Some of you have been asking what type of coffee I like. My move is to get an Americano on a drip, whatever they're brewing. I drink everything black and lean in the direction of chocolatey maple, hazelnut, and cinnamon tasting notes and lean away from more flowery and fruity notes.
That just sounded pretentious as all hell. I love you. I love you, Gabe. That was pinky in the air. Shout out Craig Valentino in the back. That was hoity-toity.
When in doubt, pinky out, man. You got to be fancy.
That is San Francisco in a nutshell. I think that's how most people view it on the outside looking.
Even
And there's
though
some
he's not from
production.
here,
He's not from here, but he's embraced the culture there. And I actually am with him, though, but in all seriousness, the Americano is the go-to. The espresso shots, that gets
The
you up
well
in the morning.
in Queens has a mellow vibe.
Okay, so my question is,
Mellow
Gabe,
vibe.
why do you have to, in that deep baritone
That's just how he
voice,
talks.
but speak in the sensual fashion as if I'm listening to a trailer for a rom-com coming up this summer? Shout out Blockbusters. Why is Gabe Kapler speaking to us like he's trying to court us into a dimly lit,
It almost felt
single
like
table Twilight dinner?
it almost felt like a coffee documentary or something like that. Like he's trying to do this whole hour-long feature on all the different coffees that you can get at the well in Queens. Just making a whole thing out of it.
Sexy man, though. I'll tell him that right there. It's a sexy man. It's a sexy voice. And
It was a consideration.
It's your San Francisco Giants manager. Took an L yesterday.
That he
and
did.
Took the series loss, back-to-back series losses for the San Francisco Giants on the road in Toronto and then yesterday in New York. They are back at it tonight against the Mariners, who are at 40 and 42. But where are you at with the Giants right now, Evan? I want to get your takes overall on this team. They're, 46 and 38 right now? Am I reading that right? My contacts are a little blurry right now, but I believe that's what they are. They got Camilo Doval as their lone all-star. Maybe they'll get someone else in there. I don't know. Everything always changes with the reserves. Some people get hurt, don't participate, what have you. But Camilo Doval, the all-star. And the Giants right now, where are they? Where you need them to be? Where'd you have them pegged before the season? Everything. Your thoughts?
I think the San Francisco Giants are right where I would hope they'd be, which is in position to earn a playoff berth. Like that should be the goal of this season, and to be able to do it with a young group. Well, I should say a mixed group of which you're finally being able to see the results of your farm system pay dividends. You got some prospects coming up and producing. Some of them are beginning to slide out like Casey Schmidt. Others are thriving in Patrick Bailey. And Luis Matos has been a nice addition. I like where the Giants are headed. And they just had a fantastic month. I know that they just dropped to back-to-back series to end the month, but you look at the trends of the team, they are trending in the right direction. April, not great, 11 and 15. Then you get back on the horse. May, you even things out, 17 and 12. Now, heading into July, even though you lost 2 games to the Mets, you had an 18 and 8 month of June. That is incredible in my mind. That got you back into contention, not only for the playoffs, but potentially the division. Do I think they're a better team on paper than the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Los Angeles Dodgers, or at least before their locker room issues, the San Diego Padres? Maybe not. But this is a team that knows how to win games and has shown you that over the course of a pretty big sample size to this point, Spadone. So even though, yes, they lost to another team that hasn't been able to figure it out, the New York Mets, I think the Giants right now are where I had hoped that they could be. Not necessarily expected, because coming off of a season last year that left you wanting more, you never really know. But I think that the amount of confidence that's been restored in both the fan base as well as even probably some members of the organization is exactly what you wanted at this point. Restore my confidence that this team can go win baseball games, that they can identify some around the margins talents, that they don't need those big-ass name stars like Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa, who at this point would not be helping you because they're both on the shelf, as well as Carlos Rodon to some extent. I think the Giants are right where they need to be. They're a team that I enjoy watching. They're a team that has a lot to offer, both from the young and the old, and they're trending in the right direction, which is towards the playoffs.
It's going to be interesting, too, as it pertains to the Giants and whether they're going to be buyers or sellers at the deadline. And Farhan, he always does both. He doesn't like to be put into a box. This guy, he thinks outside of said box when it comes to getting guys like a J.D. Davis, who's been pretty damn good for this team. And remember, that's kind of the guy they got last year at the trade deadline. And right now, they're a game over the Reds, the Brewers, game and a half over the red-hot Phillies. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team does the next few weeks. Will they be buyers mainly or sellers mainly? Very, very interested to see what happens to Farhan Zaidi and this squad. As it pertains to expectations, I think a lot of Giants fans looked at the NL and were like, why not us? Like, you just look at the rosters around the league and still, like, I don't think anyone saw the Miami doing what they're doing so far. Could they fade potentially? 6-4. They're on a 3-game losing streak in their last 10 there, but 48-37 overall, the top wild card. You got the Dodgers. They're going to do what the Dodgers do. They'll probably be buyers at the deadline. They'll get someone. I don't think Shohei is going to be out here this trade deadline. The Angels are actually a pretty good team. Again, a couple weeks to go. We'll see. They can implode. The Angels do what they do as it pertains to that. But the Giants, I'm looking at them, and the main takeaway so far, you alluded to it, the young guys. Like, that's all we needed to see this year. If I'm a fan, is some young guys producing. If you're not going to hit on Judge or Correa or Wales, if you will, as in terms of free agents, I got to see some young talent. And we are finally seeing that pay off to the tune of the Estradas, the Schmitz, who I know has been down a little bit, but Doval, Bailey, Matos, all these guys finally showing out. And I think it gives Giants fans hope for the future. And now, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, you can at least sell me on a vision that wasn't there 6 months ago.
Well, and it is about the young guys, and I know that's kind of the sexiest part of this roster. I still do have questions about whether or not those three that I just named, Bailey, Matos, and Schmidt, can continue to play as well as they have. We've already seen Schmidt take a dive at the plate and kind of hit more accustomed to what we've seen in the minors. Like Patrick Bailey last year was a 250 hitter at best in single A.
Not known for his hitting.
No, and so like the fact that he's performing as well as he has at the plate is a plus because he's a great glove. And so I like what I've seen from him. But really, I think the story of the season to me has been the guys that regress from 2021 to 2022, regressing back in a positive fashion to the mean. And those two guys, one of them's on the shelf right now, but it's Lamont Wade Jr. and Mike Yastrzemski. Yeah, those two guys last season were not very good. And Lamont dealt with a lot of injuries, but in 2021, he was a 250 hitter with 800 OPS, solid numbers. Last season, derailed by a lot of injuries, didn't play a whole lot, hit 200. He's back to hitting 280 this year. He's one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball right now. Lamont Wade Jr., to me, puts together quality and professional at-bats with the best of them, even though he's not necessarily a household name. Meanwhile, Mike Yastrzemski currently finds himself in the 15-day. Last year was a 214 hitter. In 2021, he had more power. He had more pop. That's where he was providing a boost to this offense in addition to, I would say, not gold glove defense, but borderline. You're very comfortable with him in right field, especially compared to someone like Michael Conforto. In 55 games this year, the 260 average might not stay, but some of those power numbers that I discussed in 2021 are back now in 2023. So that to me is something that where if you're looking at Farhan's spreadsheet and you're saying, well, maybe this guy's playing above his weight. He's batting above his weight. He's punching above his weight class. That happened a lot in 2021, which is why you win 107 games. I don't think they're anywhere close to doing that again this year. But to say that 107-win team on paper isn't probably a 95-win team is to me the exact saying that this season, I think they are a 90 to 95-win team. They're just performing more to their overall talent level.
Got it.
As opposed to what happened last year, which is what all those guys fell off a cliff.
And listen, they're doing it with a lot of injuries too. You just think about the guys you just mentioned: Wade day to day, Conforto day to day, Yastrzemski on the IL, Brebbia on the going back to the pitching, Luke Jackson on the IL, Scott Alexander on the IL, Roberto Perez IL, Tyro day to day. Like, so all these guys, they're doing it, and it's almost a strength in numbers, if you will. And that's what it was a couple years ago for the San Francisco Giants. It felt like it didn't matter. Every single thing that Gabe Kapler touched, whether it was a pinch hitter, the bullpen, everything turned to gold. It's like, who is this guy? Who is that? Who? Mike Yastrzemski? Yeah, I know his grandpa. Who is this dude? So to your point, with this resurgence of LaMonte Wade and Mike Yastrzemski, what do you chalk that up mainly? Is that just health? How much does the shift change rules impact a guy like Yaz, who was one of the top hitters into the shift from that left side over the last few seasons?
I mean, I think it's played a bit of a role. It's not like you can't shift completely. You just can't have three guys on the right of second base or the left of second base. So instead, you're putting them directly behind the bag, and you're just kind of making do. I don't think the shift, I mean, I'm sure it maybe helps a little bit in the sense that you know that every single ground ball you send to the right side isn't ideally going to be at someone, but to me, it's not as much of a factor as both of those guys are healthy with a full offseason, and in a similar fashion to the rest of the team, the expectations for both of those two players are reset. So it is very difficult in my mind as an athlete, and especially in baseball when you're playing 162 every single day, if you are expected to carry a large load of an offense and you're not that guy. Like LaMonte Wade and Mike Yastrzemski and a few other of these players, their shoulders are not broad enough to carry an entire offense, but together, arm in arm, they can do it. And then you get some energy from those young guys. Bailey coming through, who's been clutch. Matos had a clutch home run in the Arizona series. Schmidt was off to a fiery hot start and now has since cooled. That, to me, is where you get the perfect blend, and it is made more about the young guys showing something, but to me, it's about the young guys being able to push the veteran members of this team that I expect to be there down the stretch of this season that can, in my opinion, help you win a postseason series. And that's why I think July, what I'm looking for in this month now, after a great month of June, in which got you back to this point, now stay there. Can you stay there with those young guys in the lineup mostly every single day, still platooning, still rotating the way you would, but that pitching staff hopefully starting to get a little bit more healthy with Alex Cobb coming back. I know Stripling's been out, but can you get that starting rotation right to where the bullpen has been good, the offense has been serviceable, and now you need the rest of your arms to pick up that added slack?
And that's the thing, the starting pitching. Like Logan Webb, Alex Cobb, great. You guys are solidified, 1-2, awesome. Outside of that, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust DeSclafani. I don't trust Alex Wood. I don't trust Ross Stripling. I really don't trust Sean Manaea outside of a extended bullpen arm. So to that point, the goal is absolutely to make the playoffs, but I don't know if you have the starting pitching to do that. I don't know if they do. Like the arms, and you're seeing it getting taxed now in your bullpen with all these injuries. Brebbia, Jackson, Scott Alexander. Like sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you. So what does Farhan do at the deadline? I don't think they go after